Hey guys, it's Tombox here. Welcome to MST.TV. In this video, we're gonna learn how to crush the Danger Thunder Dragon matchup or the Danger Thunder Guardragon matchup. Doesn't matter which variant, kind of the same. Classic scenario of David versus Goliath out here. I mean, literally there's a Goliath coming out for Thunder Dragons, but nothing raises the self-esteem of a Yu-Gi-Oh player unless they make someone else feel like they wasted all their money. Toxic community. Regardless of your reason of why you want to crush this matchup, we're gonna dive into the counters against this deck, looking at the interactions, the floodgates, the hand traps, the techs that you can use to maximize your resources against this deck to pull out a win against this deck. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to my most recent Patreons. We have Brandon, we have Abby, Taylor, and we have MudHunter1. Huge thank you to you guys, because you guys, videos like these are now possible, of course. Thank you so much. And if you guys want to support this channel, check out the Patreon link down in the description below. And let's get into this. And this time, I'm not going to be the face here because I drew all these charts and it'd be a waste if I didn't use them. Okay, first off, let's look into the boards that they are able to develop, starting with Danger Thunder Dragons. Optimally, they'll be able to rip out 1 to 2 cards out of your hand, depending if they run Darkest Diablos or not, at least 1 card because they're guaranteed to run Levianeer. Now, they can put out 1 to 3 Thunder Dragon Colossus through the Summon Sword combo with Ripodakis. And if they want to start using their Thunder Dragon Colossus, and if they're not just running Light Asaka, they could also run the Fusion to output another Thunder Dragon Titan. But they'll be burning into Thunder Dragon Colossus resource if they don't run that variant. So if they don't run the Allures, if they don't run the Thunder Dragon Fusion, then they have to use Thunder Dragon Colossus to actually get into some of those materials. Then we have 1 Summon Sork. They might be able to leave that on board, or a Chaos Dragon Levianeer. But if they do manage to send those to the graveyard, or they use the Levianeer level 8 and they rank up into a rank 8, then we'll have a Zombie Stein or a Hope Harbinger, which is still quite devastating, giving them a bit more interaction. If they leave a Titan, Hope Harbinger, Colossus, they can pop cards, negate your card, and prevent you from searching, while eating up 1 to 2 cards on your side. And you do need about 3 cards to break the board, so that leaves you with a board break but nothing to follow up. What about Danger Thunder Guardragon? Well, this is a bit more standard. We've seen the combos already. Optimally, they'll be able to start off with 1 to 2 hand rip coming from Chaos Dragon Levianeer and Darkest Diablos. We know they play these cards because they are able to do it within their own combo of a 2-card combo that establishes all this stuff here. They have 2 Thunder Dragon Colossus on board, preventing you from searching. There's a Zombie Stein, and aside from the Zombie Stein, there's also a Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss that also offers negation. So Zombie Stein and the Hot Red Dragon giving them 2 negations, and there's also a Saryuja still left on board, boosting the attack of some of these monsters. So you basically lose 2 cards. You have a 4-card hand dealing with a 5 monster board. I think it's pretty difficult, and which is why the whole deck basically runs a ton of extenders from the dangers, and they just keep pushing and pushing and pushing to make these boards come to life. Okay, so let's look at some of the counters. Okay, we're looking into some counters for the Danger Thunder Guardragon matchup. The first is in the red, the going second is in the blue. We have, for going first, Floodgates, Lockouts, and Control, and for going second, we have Board Breakers, Negators, and Hand Traps. Floodgates and Hand Traps, we'll look at them separately in a different list, but to give you a quick summary of for the stuff going first for Danger Thunder / Guardragon, I've kind of highlighted them in different colors just so that you'll know which ones are better for which matchup. But for Floodgates, I'll have a list after. But for a deck that's a bit more Thunder Dragon focused, a Danger Thunder Dragon deck, first of all, the best Floodgate I would say is like Summon Limit, because it actually just limits them after 2 summons. And the deck, since it's made up of mainly just monsters, you're locked out completely after your 2nd summon. Maybe you'll put out like 1 Colossus, at most 1 Colossus. And if you're playing Battery Man, you'll get the Battery Man, and then you'll summon a dude, and then that's it. So you're not even able to go into the Phoenix on the first try. So that's a major lockout for anyone playing any deck that requires summon spam. It's really painful for Dangers as well, because you activate 2 danger effects and then you're basically locked out of just discarding them and not being able to summon anymore. So yeah, that part really sucks. And then there is Gozen. So Gozen's okay, but if it's Thunder Dragon focused, then Gozen is a bit more amazing, especially if they leave themselves with some light Thunder Dragons like the Egg or something, or they leave themselves with a light monster on board, or an Earth monster for that matter, like a Ripodakis. Then that is funny because they're locked out and they cannot go into the big plays anymore. And same with Rivalry of Warlords. Now that's on number 3 because you have to time Rivalry against a more Thunder Dragon focused play, because if they have all Thunders available, they'll just spam into Thunder Dragons anyway. But if they have, say, a Dinosaur on board, or they have like the danger stuff on board, you just flip the Rivalry, now they're stuck. And getting out of it is a bit more difficult because they need a Fiend to go into the Phoenix or the Unicorn. It is very difficult. In terms of a more danger or dragon oriented play, the black and white dragons, Summon Limit of course is still one of the better options, and then we have Rivalry of Warlords because you have a lot of different types available. Rivalry would just basically cut that short and you don't have to deal with the extensions of the plays coming out further. Gozen Match is okay, but Gozen Match can be bypassed, and the problem with Gozen is most of the deck is made up of dark monsters. You have Diablos, that's dark. You have Levianeer, that's also dark. And because of a large amount of cards are dark, if they go into the Chaos Dragon Levianeer and get the pop effect and basically pop off your Gozen, they're basically free again. So that's why Gozen's on number 3 in terms of the danger / dragon oriented plays. And that's like the thing about this deck, is that it can bypass a lot of these floodgates. Even if there can be only one, it stops the Thunder Dragon side, but it does not stop the danger side of going into a Phoenix to pop a card, and then you can go ahead and go into a Saryuja and reopen up all your zones all again. So that's why the floodgates, not exactly the most effective. I think Summon Limit is still one of the best, but we'll go through the floodgate list in a bit more detail. In terms of lockout cards, Vanity's Fiend is pretty awesome, but I want to address this ruling issue right now. Can you activate a danger monster when you have Vanity's Fiend face up on the field and it has its effect active? So far from what I've heard, the answer is yes you can. Precedent ruling apparently based off of Minerva and Drone Lockbird, like you're still able to use Minerva's effect to mill cards, but you won't be able to get the draw. So in other words, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get it, and therefore you can still activate it according to what we know right now. Until there's an official OCG ruling, that's how it is right now. Always ask your head judge, because even I'm not too sure about this. How would I rule this at an event? I think I'm gonna go with the precedent ruling until I'm told otherwise. And then there's Majesty's Fiend. Now Vanity's Fiend's great because you can't get Kaiju. Majesty's Fiend, on the other hand, is so amazing. If you look at the entire lineup of the deck, a lot of these cards require activation, and Majesty's Fiend just completely cut that short. And if you cut that activation out of the way, you can't activate the danger cards, which is amazing. That cuts out like half the deck already. And the Thunder Dragon effects in your hand, they can't activate. The ones in the graveyard can't activate. So aside from just summoning, you have nothing else to activate. There's no real effect that can just jump out. Like, unless they slide into like a Pancratops and then run over your Majesty's Fiend, you have really nothing to worry about, and that's like complete lockout. Now the issue with Majesty's Fiend is that if they Psycho's Light and they draw into like a Kaiju, or they draw into a Pancratops, then they can break this. But outside of Majesty's Fiend, say if you can protect the Majesty's Fiend, you can pretty much just use Majesty's Fiend and take it home. Another card to lock people would be Archlord Christia. This is just like something I experienced at locals. I was playing Danger Thunder Dragons, and a friend of mine at locals, he plays Herald, and he does like the turn 1 combo. It completely crushes me, and I really can't do very much against that. Like, I can just try to spam as much dangers as I want, but then under Christia, I got completely shut out. And oh, here's a tip: if you're gonna be playing these cards, avoid putting 3 bodies on the field. Note that the side deck of Danger Thunder Dragons will always include 3 sphere modes. And in fact, sphere modes is a pretty common side right now. In fact, maybe I'll even do a video about like the most common sides right now and what are they for. But okay, next up we have Artifact Engine. This is a lockout out of the extra deck, because if you take out the extra deck out of the equation, the board is pretty mediocre. It's just a bunch of floating monsters at best, and at worst, it's just nothing. There's nothing really to worry about. Like one big board can probably just swoop it under the rug and they'll call it a day. So Artifact Sanctum and Scythe, that you can even include Trap Trick to maximize your odds of getting that Artifact Sanctum to shut out the play. This is something that you'll probably just shotgun if you know the matchup. If you side it in, you just do it. You just don't even give them a chance to make anything, because if they make anything, it means you're gonna have to deal with the repercussion of breaking the board later, and they enjoy the graveyard synergy. Okay, next Insurrector Border. kind of the same thing as Majesty's Fiend, really. It's just a 2k beat stick. As a 2k beat stick, you're probably stronger than most of the other cards on there already. Now, there is the issue of, say, they can special summon out like a white or a black dragon, and then they can tribute summon into a Thunder Dragon Roar, and yeah, then that way he can potentially just break it, because none of those cards activate. So yeah, and if nothing can activate, they can't even get Inspector Board, or not Inspector Board, but like Darkest Diablos out onto the field. Now, another lockout card would be number 41 Baguska, and again, just shutting out card effects and putting everything into defense mode. Note that you're not really specifically spamming link monsters, so everything will get turned to defense and they will be negated by Baguska's effect. Now, if you know what you're doing, and this is like a poor man's side, I would say Shared Ride. This card came out in like a structure deck. Shared Ride is pretty good if you consider how many searches are coming from the deck. If you're just playing like pure Danger Thunder, you might be able to fetch like one from Dark Dragon, one from White Dragon, and then you'll fetch, if they play Melody Engine, they'll be able to fetch the Melody. That will be another draw for you. There's also the Egg of Thunder Dragon, there's also regular Thunder Dragon, and there's also the Thunder Dragon Dark. That's like potential 6 draws just from one Shared Ride, and if you sided incorrectly to break boards, then yeah, you can maximize and capitalize off of the Shared Ride. But otherwise, I don't recommend it, because Shared Ride can be played around, but it's a decent tech that I've seen at locals that paid off for some people. Next, we have Control. You want to stop them from being able to play, so you have to have some form of negation. Call by the Grave is amazing because it turns off the danger. You can use it to hit off the danger. If you have multiples, that's even better because you hit the Thunder Dragon and the danger. I would recommend hitting off the Thunder Dragon Hawk, because that's probably the one that has the most amount of follow-up when they get out a roar into a dark, and then there's just so much stuff happening. Probably just don't want that happening altogether and don't want to give them that free revive. Abyss Dweller is really good at shutting off the danger monsters that got discarded into the graveyard, and also shutting off some of the Thunder Dragon monsters being sent from field to graveyard, so win-win. Then there's Solemn Brigade, Solemn Strike, and Solemn Warning. They are just really good. Why? It just stops one of the plays, and a lot of the plays, they are kind of interlinked. They need the pieces to go through and need each part to go through for the maximum play to come out. If you strike the key cards from coming out, say you strike like a Thunder Dragon Hawk, you kind of cut the Thunder Dragon play short. Same with Warning. If they go into like a Saryuja and then you're just warning it, you just kill the Saryuja, they didn't even get the draw, and that's the end of that. They just committed 4 cards for, well, nothing. And if your deck naturally has a counter trap, this is a very good option to kind of turn off various problems, and basically using it like a strike or a warning. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about for Control. Let me know down in the comment section about what else you would use for, like, if you're going first and you needed some form of control. Would you try to use like D-barriers or turn off fusions? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section below. And now looking at going second, Board Breaker. It's a very common side right now to run Winged Dragon or Sphere mode because it eats up 3 cards, and a lot of these big board building decks, they do leave 3 things on board, whether or not you're playing like Herald or if you're playing like, I guess, Thunder Guardragon. It is very important to have the Sphere mode to just kill something, but do pay attention to this. You need a follow-up play after the Winged Dragon Raw Sphere mode. If you don't have a follow-up, then you're in for like a world of hurt. Let me just tell you that, because you gave him that and you don't have a normal summon. So I would recommend siding out some of your normal summons to actually give him that Winged Dragon Raw Sphere mode, preferably like Phantom Sky Blasters and stuff like that, because if you don't maximize off of your triggers and your ability to keep playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, your opponent's just gonna have a second turn to just try to make the same stuff all over again. So be careful of that. Now, if they're playing a Thunder Dragon oriented matchup with like less like negation, you can try like Book of Eclipse to turn off the entire Thunder Dragon board to allow you to search, and they have no interaction coming from their Titan. And that, to me, is always a win-win. It's same as using like a UCT Ultimate Conductor Tyranno against a Thunder Dragon matchup. It was amazing. You just do it and then they just lose. So, but if you use Book of Eclipse, you need a proper follow-up. And similar to Book of Eclipse, you can also use Evenly Match, which minimizes the amount of resources you need to break the board. And of course, if you're playing against like a Guardragon matchup, which they would have negators, then you would probably want to have Kaijus and maybe an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, just like swing at everything just because you can. It's just somehow works out. Just beware of the negation stuff, because that is a big problem. They'll probably just negate your ultimate conductor terminal, but at least you get to swing at your opponent's monster because you're just bigger than they are. In terms of negators, I know the first card is not really a negation card. We have Mind Control. Mind Control is mainly to deal with forcing and baiting out one of the negations. Or better yet, if you have already wasted your opponent's cards with, like, say, Book of Eclipse or Evenly Matched, or maybe even Sphere Mode of them, Mind Control can come in handy by just maximizing your resources, because it gives you that +1 resource body to go into your own plays. Especially a Mirror Match, that it would be even better. Impermanence is just like a one-off negation. Again, it's mainly used to bait off some of the negations that they have already put up, or if you have made them set up a weaker board because you used hand traps to interrupt them so that they didn't get their maximum setup, then these cards would actually work much better. You can also use a cheaper variant of course, Forbidden Chalice, kind of does the same thing. And then there's Amano Iwato. Make sure that if you use Amano Iwato, you know how to get rid of them, because no one can activate any effects unless they are a spirit monster. But if you use Amano Iwato and then you do a board wipe, yes, that is very painful, and it is an option that you can use. Kind of like Inspector Border. And then of course there are the hand trap lineup, which we will go into after we look into Floodgates. Now let's look into some of the Floodgate interaction. Now Floodgates don't exactly do too much against this deck, because none of the Floodgates have a full grasp against this matchup, because this matchup just seems to... there seems to be a little cracks all over these Floodgates. Now looking at Rivalry Warlords, very effective against the danger side of things and locking them into like Beast and Reptile. However, Dragons, it's only good when you use it against, say, when they don't have a lot of resources in the graveyard, or else they're gonna go into the Chaos Dragon Legionnaire and pop your card, and then Rivalry will be gone. And it is also really bad against the Batteryman and Hawk, because they get the full Batteryman package, and you're basically gonna still eat a Thunder Dragon board to some degree. And if they have Phantom Skyblaster, then they will automatically out it with a Phoenix or a Unicorn. So yeah, there's a danger when it comes to playing the Rivalry Warlords, but it's still really good against like Tsuchinoko. So make sure if you main deck this card, time it towards the Beast, the Dinosaur, which is Ripodakis, Spellcaster. Just lock them out when they have a need for multiple types. Then there's Gozen Match. Gozen Match is another iffy card. It's really good when you lock them into a light scenario, but it is just okay when you lock them into dark, because if you lock them into dark, the entire danger core is dark. So not a lot of efficiency there of keeping them at bay, and they're able to go into Unicorn and spin the card back. At least that's how I typically get rid of it, or I go into Chaos Dragon again, Legionnaire. So much utility coming from that one monster. But if they go into like an Earth or something like a Saryuja and then you flip that on them, then you don't have to deal with as much stuff that you normally would need to deal with. So as a Thunder Dragon player, I would typically leave a dark monster on the board when I make the Saryuja if I can, just so that I'm not locked out just from summoning Earth monsters. Okay, then we have Summon Limit. I find that Summon Limit to be the most effective way of stopping someone, because it really hurts the tempo. You can only summon twice, and even before you flip Summon Limit, if I summon twice for the turn and then they flip it, I can't summon anymore. That's just how it is. It's on the ruling of the card, so yeah, just keep that in mind. It's very devastating in those sub-terror decks that main deck this card. They give me a really, really troubling time. Then there can be only one. This one's only decent if they're stuck in Thunders and they don't really have anything to kind of out it, but sadly, the dangers, they provide the out with the dangers, the dragons, the beast, the reptile, all that combined, they can go into Phoenix, Unicorn, or the dragon to basically just pop it. So there can be only one, only good against the Thunder Dragon sided plays. And then there's Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. This one is kind of a niche tech. I don't think it's actually that great. I do not recommend this card, but some people used it, and there are certain interactions that get a little annoying. If you open with Phantom Skyblaster, Legionnaire, Diabolos, and the Thunder Dragon, the Thunder Dragon Dark and Roar that are trying to activate Engrave, yeah, that hurts. That not gonna lie, that part actually kind of hurts, especially when the Phantom Skyblaster in hand and you don't have another normal summon. It's a bit of a waste of your summon, and Legionnaire isn't able to pop stuff multiple floodgates in combination is very devastating, and Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is no different. It can be the sub floodgate of the main floodgate, so that you have two floodgates just kind of backing each other up. Then there's Imperial Iron Wall. This one mainly stops the Dragon Engine, which is the white and black, and the Chaos Dragon, Levianeer, and then you can't summon a Thunder Dragon duo, and Colossus will not be able to protect itself from being destroyed. So it does provide a lot of vulnerability and cuts a lot of combos short, especially if you draw into certain cards through your Danger Engine. But my best tip for you guys would be to time your floodgate so that your opponent doesn't have the maximum amount of resources. Don't just shotgun it unless you think summon limit will be do the best thing for that. For summon limit, of course, when you see two summons, just flip summon limit and then just call it a day, because then they can't link out, and if they have something happening in the middle of a chain that's trying to summon, the card will not summon out because they cannot summon anymore. Wow, you guys are getting a hand trap segment so early. Okay, looking at Ash Blossom, what do you hit? Summon Sorks on the summon effect. Wyvern Burster when it's trying to add the Black Dragon, because the Black Dragon, if they're playing the Guardragon variant, the Black Dragon is going to banish the Eclipse Wyvern, which is going to lead into the cards getting ripped out of your hand. So if you have an extra hand trap, you can try to hit their Wyvern Burster. If they're going to do a Saryuja draw 4 play at the very beginning, yeah, just Ash that. Their hand's probably not that great, and they committed so many danger monsters into making that Saryuja. If you have additional hand traps available, you can also consider hitting the Batteryman Solar. But you can also use Veiler on it, so you can take your pick on which one you want to use. Like, it is recommended that you have multiple hand traps. Veiler and Permanence kind of the same thing, just I'm just saying Veiler because it's just a little easier. And other Ash Blossom targets, you have Thunder Dragon Dark and Roar. If they go into a Gold Sark for it, by all means, just Ash it. You don't have to deal with it. And if they're playing a Thunder Dragon Fusion, of course the search effect, you can stop that in a later turn, especially in low resource situations. That's pretty ideal. Ghost Bell. In the Danger Thunder Dragon Guardragon matchup, there's actually less for you to Ghost Bell. I feel like the only thing that you can really Ghost Bell would be the Thunder Dragon Hawk Revival effect, and that's actually quite painful. But it's hard for them to revive a Thunder Dragon monster without going to Saryuja and special summoning from their hand, or if they don't go into the Reprodocus into Summon Sork play. I've been put in some situations where my activation was negated and I had a bunch of Thunder monsters without the activation to go into the Tribute of Colossus, so that hurts. And of course Ghost Bell, the Thunder Dragon Fusion effect, because the Fusion effect will put out Titan, and you just don't need to deal with Titan. Okay, for Ghost Ogre, if you're maining Ghost Ogre, there are targets you can hit and they're quite valuable. Reprodocus is one of them, because if you hit the Reprodocus, they'll lack a dinosaur, and they won't even convert the dinosaur because the link pointers are already gone. So they're not going to be able to go into Summon Sork. Now, in the case that Ghost Ogre fails, or if you use like a Veiler and that gets impermanenced, and then they go into Summon Sork, then you can go into Summon Sork. Well, if they go into Summon Sork, you pop Summon Sork, because Summon Sork's arrows are no longer available. They are not able to using the summoning effect. And if there's a Saryuja, you can pop the Saryuja because it's still like 4 monsters. It's potentially a free summon that you actually stop them from doing, and you kill the monster. So it's okay, but I would recommend hitting the Summon Sork and the Reprodocus before the Saryuja. Next, there's Ghost Reaper. Now, this one's a bit of a harder one. If you're playing against a Guardragon, Thunder Dragon Danger, you can hit the Colossus, because they don't run Thunder Dragon Fusion, and you'll basically cut their combos short when they try to tribute things off. But they'll still manage to make a pretty decent board, so yeah, don't write them off just because you hit their Thunder Dragon. You can also hit their Saryuja, because a lot of the times they go into 2. If you hit the Saryuja, they lose a lot of the link pointers. And another thing you can consider is killing off the Summon Sork in a more pure variant of the Danger Thunder, because basically if they go into the Reprodocus play, you can do it there, so that now they've entered a bit of an awkward situation where they have a Reprodocus, but they don't have Summon Sork to go into anymore. So that's a bit of the trade-off. And in terms of Impermanence and Veiler, Reprodocus, Summon Sork, obviously those are your key targets that you want to hit, because they are the main combo linchpins, and you want to make sure that those don't go through. Phantom Sky Blaster, just in case if they have multiple and they can summon out like 4 dudes. And then there is Chaos Dragon Levianeer if it's going to rip a card out of your hand. You're basically forced to do it on that one. As for Psi-Frame Gamma, just look at Ogre targets, Veiler targets, Ash targets. And other hand traps you can consider would be Artifact Lancia and Drone Lockbird. Those ones, just shotgun them as soon as possible because you can really cut down on the crap you have to deal with early on. With Lancia active, they're not able to use most of the black and white dragon plays because they can't banish anymore, and that could potentially lock them out of the Thunder Dragon stuff too. I find that's pretty good, especially when you see like, oh, they're normal summoning out a Batteryman Solar. That's when you shotgun that Lancia so that if they have a card to use now, it's useless. And the board's smaller, and you can basically snowball from that point forward. Drone Lockbird, it's just do it so that the dangers don't get that extra draw, and so the resources is completely limited at that point. Alright, so that's my rundown on how to beat or how to crush the Danger Thunder Guardragon or Danger Thunder Dragon matchup. If you guys have anything to add, leave it down in the comment section below. If there's something I'm missing, I would love to read your comment down there as well. And first of all, I'd like to thank you guys, Patreons, and everyone. For Patreons, don't forget the Dark Neostorm proxies are available on Discord and on the Patreon site. Just click the link there and you can grab them. It's the ones that you guys requested. Still waiting on Witchcraft. And hopefully if you guys enjoyed that video, I guess I can take off my headphones now. Hit me up with a thumbs up if you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV. Hit that subscribe button, hit notification bell, and well, that's all I got for this video. So I will see you guys in the next one, and don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV. Yeah, .TV. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.